Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the How to Choose Happiness and Freedom Show. I'm your host, Lauren Foster, happiness teacher, founder of Be Happy First, and author of Happy and Free on Purpose. Daily practices to live and love your life. Now, we're doing something very special for the next about 3 weeks. Today is July 15th, 2021, and all the way through my birthday on August 4th, anybody who gets on our email list who signs up for our newsletter will be entered in a drawing to win a free autographed copy of the book and a 30-minute free coaching call with me, which will be great fun and of great value. So just go to behappyfirst.org/newsletter or just to laurengfoster.com and click on join the tribe, and that will get you on the list and in the drawing for that. And as always, wherever you're watching or listening, if you look below, I will give you links to everything that we talk about today. So today it is my great honor to have my friend, my teacher, my coach, my peer, my darling, love her, Karen Flaherty, on the show today. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Lauren. Thanks so much for having me. It's great to see you.
Oh, yeah, it is.
You're a best-selling author.
Yeah, I'm a best-selling author. So if you want to go back and get a refresher on human design and all of the things that Karen and I talked about before, her episode was called Being Who You Really Are, and it was published in October of 2020 on October 8th. And Karen also is the author of Getting to Know You. Embrace your unique blueprint to make decisions you love and trust. And I have recommended and shared and gifted this book all over the place, and everyone falls in love with it. It offers so much clarity. So I'm just
Thanks so
really,
much, Lauren.
yeah, I'm happy to get a
And
chance
I'm
to
very
chat with
honored
you.
to be in the book in the resources section, which is the first time that's happened. So that was a big deal for me.
Yes, that's absolutely right. She is referenced in the Happy and Free on Purpose book because it's such an amazing way to just get insight into who you really are and who you're meant to be and what your path is. So I love it very much. All right,
Thanks.
so we have a specific kind of thing about what's going on in the world that we're going to talk about that for the moment, but give us a quick refresher course on what human design is and how it works.
Okay, sure. So, again, I'm just so happy to be here and so happy that we're now both published authors, right? And
Mhm.
kind of basking in this glow of being seen finally, right?
Yeah.
Especially you as a projector and me as a generator. Neither of us really have voices according to human design, right? But here we
Right.
have our books. And
Right.
so this is a lovely way to express ourselves, right?
Mhm.
As the people we are, as we can express who we are. And so what I love, what I've always loved about human design, I found it about, gosh, it's 12 years ago now, in like 2009. That was a big tumultuous year for me. And I found human design, and it's like it finally answered a lot of the questions that I was asking myself, that my therapist was asking me for years and years, right? That family and friends were like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? Like, can't you, either settle down or stay in one job or do this or do that? And, I realized I was being conditioned by everybody around me, right? Not living who I wanted to be. And so with human design, I finally figured out who I wanted to be when I grew up.
Right.
And for the last 10 years, I've been doing that with the business, with the book now, with helping people learn about their own human design. And just really briefly, it's a personality assessment tool that allows you to see who you are at a much deeper level than a lot of the other personality assessment tools that are out there. Because human design is based on birth information as opposed to being based on the questions that we answer, right? Like a Myers-Briggs or Enneagram or any of the others that are out there. And so it really gets to a deep level. And I have now run thousands and thousands of charts for people, right? At different holistic fairs and on my website. And you can always get a free chart, by the way, on my website at livingbyhumandesign.com. And what I find is that unless they don't know their birth time exactly, and I do have a way of finding that, we always get a really clear picture of who people are. They just glom onto it and love it and say, I feel seen. That's the biggest thing. So
Yeah.
people feel seen. It's the
Yeah.
stuff that they forgot about, right? That they forgot about when they were 12 or 10 or 20. that they really wanted to do. And that's really their purpose. And that's why they're here. So we find out not only who you are, but what your life's purpose is, what your path is, kind of the story of your life, and a way to make decisions going forward so that you can really feel good about every day forward.
Right.
So,
All right. So human design incorporates all run through the list of all the different modalities that are included in there, because I think
oh,
that's so
sure.
interesting.
It is. So it's the old and the new. So it's the ancient really and the new. It's the I Ching, the Kabbalah, the so the Chinese I Ching, the Jewish Kabbalah, the Hindu chakra system, and Eastern and Western astrologies on the ancient side. And then on the new side, we've got quantum physics, biogenetics, and modern math. And so together, you really get a great picture of who you are, who you're being, what your body's supposed to be about, how you're supposed to work in the world, live in the world, even birth in the world. You know, some people are here to birth lots of kids. Some people are not. That's okay, right? Like look at me and you, right?
Mhm.
We happen to work with lovely clients and everybody's got kids and we work with families and things like that, but we ourselves don't have children, and that's okay. As a projector, you're not supposed to necessarily. And as a generator, I can choose to or not, right? Now,
Right.
I wanted to have children, but we didn't. But at any rate,
Right.
you know, some people have children and some don't. It's okay. It's okay. When you see the chart, you kind of figure it out.
Right. And it's so absolutely perfectly, completely unique to you is what I love in that.
That's what I like.
Yeah. And we're
I
all,
happen to be having knee surgery in the next few weeks, and I'm getting this robotic surgery done that's completely customized. The knee replacement is completely customized to me. Well, that fits perfectly with me because I love my customized vitamins. I love my customized human design. I like everything customized. I mean,
right.
why should I use skincare that doesn't work for half the world, right? You know,
Right.
it just doesn't make sense to me why you wouldn't want stuff customized.
Right.
And that's what human design is. It's a custom made description of who you are.
Yeah. Getting rid of everything cookie cutter and
Yeah,
everything's special and
that
unique and
doesn't
awesome.
usually work, right?
Right.
And so I do sessions that are actually about 2 hours long, and it's kind of long, you know, to talk, except that people love talking about themselves and I love telling them about their chart. And so it's, you know, consider it like a 2 hour hug, right? Of just telling you exactly who you are and exactly who you're meant to be. And helping you get back on a path to that pragmatically so that it happens
And
sooner than later.
that is the absolute truth. I've had my sessions with Karen and been in her classes, and it really is just like having somebody so totally supporting you and having your back and telling you how wonderful you are. It's amazing.
That's what I'm here for.
Yay. All right. So tell me what it was that you said in your email about what's going on in the world right now. And when we first got on the call, I said, I think I'm manifesting this. I remember it being about being stuck and going crazy.
Well, so there's a lot going on energetically in the world, I would say. And I actually, you know, kind of did an experiment with that over the past month, right? Because I was getting ready for our trip. We decided to go up north for 2 weeks, and we drove. So that was an experiment in itself, an adventure. And we you know, we set our intentions of how we wanted it to be. We knew exactly what we wanted to do, Lauren, ahead of time. And I've learned to do that with my husband and for me too, right? To know, you know, to kind of pre-plan, right? Some people call it pre-paving, right? What you want to happen. And I was like, so we're going to go see, you know, our cousins here in DC, and then we're going to go visit the relatives, some friends, some old neighbors of ours that we wanted to see who have an autistic son, some a cousin of my husband's whose husband had just passed, you know. So it was a combination of different things, but we just wanted to be with people, right? We wanted to see them. We hadn't seen them in a year and a half at least, right? Some 2 years or longer. And so it was just a wonderful way to reconnect. But as we were setting that up, the rest of the world was kind of in a state of flux, right? Going through the 4th of July and the basically opening up, right? And coming out of COVID, and finally being in this one editorial over the weekend called it collective, what do you call it? Collective exuberance. Which I thought was great, right? So it's this all of a sudden this collective way of just being out and about and being in the world. Except, guess what? A lot of us aren't used to that, right? For a lot of us, it's new. We've been sequestered for a year and a half. Some of us have poked out once in a while, or gone to dinners here and there, but for a lot of us, it's new and it's a little awkward in a way, right? And so we just kind of made fun of it, as we were going along. It's like, oh, this is weird. We haven't been with people in so long. I hope we still know how to have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
Now, fortunately, I've had you and my clients and other Zoom calls to be able to keep in practice, hopefully. But to see people in person was just so nice, right? I'm so sorry.
She's popular.
The to be able to see people and hug them and be with them and really have conversations with them and sit down and talk and and making sure that we saw the people who were perhaps having issues or suffering or had lost a loved one or a good friend or people like that. We wanted to make sure that we made time for them and really sit down and talk to them in their own abode, so without going out to a restaurant and being shuffled about, right? So we really did that and we made time for that, and it just felt so good. And we also got to New York City, which was really a lot of fun. And we got to see the tourists and the everything. So as I said to a friend of mine this morning, we while all this chaos in a way was going on in the world with everybody kind of pouring out of their homes and having fireworks, right, and hot dogs and hamburgers and everything else that goes with that, we got to make our own path, right? There were tourists and there were accidents on the road and there was traffic and there was one instance of somebody who was taking care of somebody with COVID, and there were deaths in the family and all that stuff, but we were able, and there was weather. We had the craziest weather, right? I don't know if you had it down there, but in the Eastern Seaboard, it went from literally, we're in DC and New Jersey, it was 100 degrees and a bit over. And it was too hot to eat outside, to also in New Jersey a few days later, it was too cold to eat outside, which was fine either way, but it was like 100 degrees down to 50 degrees.
Right.
Was our range. And and so we kind of planned it out in the world. Everything worked fine. The car worked fine. It was so cute at one point. So cute, I say. My husband didn't think it was so cute, but right after we arrived in New Jersey, after this 1,000-mile trip, right, the next morning, Wednesday morning, we turn on the car and it says needs coolant, right? Well, we'd only driven through 4 days of 100-degree weather. Why we need cool it? It's almost like, please, may I have a cup of water, sir? Right. And so we get a little bottle of water and, put it in the car, and it hadn't been started. So it took it fine and turned it on again, and there it goes. And, and then we were fine for the rest of the 2 days. So everything, worked out really well for us. We had some rain in New York, but, we basically floated through.
Yeah.
So with all this stuff, right, we kind of floated through.
But do you feel like the reason you're able to do that is because that's what you intended? You intended for this to be wonderful and beautiful and lovely. Yeah. So,
exactly.
And it works for everything. It works for your work at home, your work at work, your anything that you do. If you're
and in fact, we have to remember to be that conscious, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's what I wanted to kind of talk about today. It's about consciousness and what I call unity, and a number of people call unity consciousness versus the separation and duality that other people are feeling, right? Yeah. And so the separation and duality is where people are seeing the us versus them and the, this versus that and political versus not and all those things versus, oh, okay, let's just all be one. Let's just all embody the oneness that's really here for all of us, right? Mm-hmm. That can be in our bodies. And I think it's important now to pay attention to what's going on with your body, right? Because I think we've been living in kind of a default mode for a while now because of COVID, making sure that maybe we don't have a fever, right? Or we're not coughing or we're not sneezing. But other than that, maybe gaining a few pounds or not exercising as much as we need to and saying, oh, that's okay. I've got another week or a month. Right. And now that we want to be out here, it's like, oh, some things don't fit. Right. So I bought some new clothes and lost a few pounds, but it's a balancing act, right? But it's listening to your body and making sure that what's going on is really what you want to be having going on, so that you can receive the blessings, so you can allow, so you can feel good as they're coming to you, right? So that it all feels good as it comes.
Yeah. And so that you notice, you know?
And notice, yeah, it's
Yeah.
mindfulness, right? It's
Yeah.
being mindful of the body and
Yeah.
being mindful that you can allow or you can resist, right? We
Mhm.
can allow what is, or we can resist what is.
Mhm.
There were, a number of times over the last 2 weeks when we were away that uh, I could have resisted. I could have not allowed. I hit my toe pretty badly. The toe was okay, but as you know, I have knee issues, and so it really hurt my knee. And so I was kind of, it was hurting the next 2 days. Let's say that. But I put ice on it, and we got around and we got to the city, and it was fine. And I sat on benches while my husband went through the museum. Well, I got to tell you, I love people watching. I always have. I still do. And so I'm sitting in the Museum of Modern Art watching people go by.
Right.
Gorgeous room, right, with all this beautiful art around, and he's walking around through all the places, and he actually got lost, which was kind of funny. He couldn't find me. He couldn't figure out what room I was in. So I was actually there for quite a while. One of the guards came over and asked me how I was doing. I was like, "Oh, I'm okay. But what room are we in?" I have to text my husband and let him know. So, so just funny things like that. And we got to the Museum of Natural History where we wanted to see there was a big gem and stone exhibit. It was supposed to be really cool. The line was literally around the block. I'd never seen that before. And it was 100 degrees. And so I said to my husband, I don't think I really want to do that. Right. So we took the cab, had a wonderful ride through Central Park in the cab, just kept our cab driver, went through the park, down Fifth Avenue. It was a glorious, little trip.
Right.
Cost a little more money, but then we wound up at Museum of Modern Art, which was a lot easier to get into.
Right.
So things just happened, and we just kind of went with the flow, and it's like, it's okay. It'll, we'll find our way to the right place, right? Or we'll find where we're supposed to be. And so it was just kind of allowing versus resisting, and it just made the trip a whole lot easier.
Yeah, and I love that. And those are beautiful examples of that. Okay, so here's my choice. I could stand in line and try to force this to happen and be uncomfortable and be hot and be resistant.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
I can go, oh, maybe this is a sign that there's something better and more fun for me to see and do. And there's a lot of things that are happening that we don't even really necessarily get to know what happened. There could have been a traffic jam could save you from an accident further down the road. I mean, little things like that you just can't know. But if you just assume that everything's always working out for your best good, then it's much easier to resist or to allow instead of resist. Right. I was doing an interview yesterday, and the subject came up of people that they just rush through whatever it is they're doing. It's lunch. What they're rushing through lunch. They're rushing through this. They always have their mind on what's coming next, and then at the end of the day, they look back and they didn't really experience anything because they were never really in that moment. So
yeah. I mean, we were having breakfast one morning, and it was a little bit later. We thought, the rush would be done, but it was still kind of busy. It was the place in the hotel, which was wonderful. It was like an old-fashioned deli, kind of place. And we were waiting for breakfast, and we were waiting a little while. And I don't think I would have realized that there was a big star at the next table if I had been rushing through breakfast, right?
Right.
The big star to me. He's on Grey's Anatomy. And so it was really fun. And I just heard the voice first, like, I don't tend to look around and, notice what people are eating kind of thing. But, he sat down with his family at the next table. It was a big round table. And I was all of a sudden, I'm like eye to eye with him. And I was like hearing his voice, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Who was it?
So it's Dr. Ben Warren. He's the character. That's his character. He's Jason Johns, it turns out. And so it's Miranda's husband.
It's whose husband?
Miranda's husband, Dr. Bailey's husband.
I haven't watched that show in a really long time. I'll have to go back and look and see.
It can't be, it's like, it's not really possible. And then I look it up on the my little phone, and sure enough, it's like him. I
Right.
think it is. Anyway, so it was fun. It
Yeah.
was, and it's just like those little things in New York that you don't get to see. And so Broadway was closed, which broke my heart. But it was just fun. We were in the theater district anyway, so we got to walk by some of the theaters and see all those. And anyway, I don't mean to make this about my trip, but it's just little examples
Yeah.
of what was allowing versus what was resisting, right? And
Right.
whenever I resisted during the trip, then I get in a funky mood for a little while, and I was like, what am I doing? This is, it's vacation, it's enjoyment, it's time to have a good time. Even, it's little things, right? Like just hearing, because we're in Florida now, we don't really have the windows open. We can't really have the windows open when it's raining because of where we are. And the people, some people on a Friday night were having dinner at their house and they had the windows open. It's a little warm outside, but we could hear the rain coming down through the trees, Lauren.
Mhm.
Oh, I was like, oh, that sounds so pretty.
Yeah.
I love that, that gentle rain on leaves was just so nice, so wonderful to hear, just a sunset. So it was pretty. It
And
was,
I get to experience that 2 or 3 times every week, and I love it, but I've forgotten how see, I need to come to Florida and be
yeah.
closed in for a while
Mhm.
so that when I come back to my open windows in the gentle rain, I'll appreciate it more,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And so, I can definitely hear the pitter patter on the cement deck, but it's a
Right?
little bit, it's not quite the same.
All
So,
right.
yeah,
So
lots of examples of those.
what about the idea of I can see some people who are witnessing the what did you call it? It's something exuberance, the collective exuberance,
Collective exuberance, yes.
and but they don't know how to that like you said they are um uncomfortable, awkward. They don't know
Yeah,
how to join in.
yeah,
What is your it I witnessed this being really hard, the whole COVID thing and financial issues and just a lot of things happening all at once happening to people, and it just really laying them low. And I'd really love to hear
yeah,
some energetic words about how do you ease yourself out of that kind of funk
yeah.
and rejoin the exuberance out in the world.
Well, so, some people are okay. I think we're moving into a new normal, right? A different normal. It's not going to be the status quo that we had before. We're not going back. That's gone.
I'm
And
glad of that. I
and I'm glad of that too.
Mhm.
And the funny thing is that some people think that that's like a woo-woo idea, Lauren. It's not. Um, Physically, energetically, and um, environmentally, geologically, actually,
Mhm.
we are changing. The world is changing. The poles are shifting, right? The poles are shifting. The magnetic core of the center of the Earth is expanding. There are things that are happening geologically that are not going to change, that are changing, and we have no control over them, but they have control over us in a way because they're kind of changing things. So just for example, the magnetic uh, magnetic resonance of the Earth. Now, I'm not a geologist, but what I've heard is that the magnetic resonance is changing. What some people call the Schumann resonance is changing, and so that Schumann resonance is making the air a little lighter, and so the veil, so more magnetic radiation is actually coming through, which is okay. It's not going to hurt us, but it's thinning. It's what we say in human design is it's thinning the veil. The veil is thinning, right? We're moving into a point where we can be much more conscious of what's going on with other people, with nature, with, so again, getting back to that oneness, right? Getting to that oneness where it really makes a difference what's going on today for everyone. It's a collective consciousness, yes, but if we're all raising our frequency, right? Which is what the earth itself is doing that. And it allows us as humans on this little planet to raise our frequency too. And so as the frequency is raising, right, everybody's frequency is raising. And therefore we can help the world collectively and we can help the world individually as ourselves. And so I think the best thing you can do is be yourself, right?
Yeah.
and come into this new normal in a new way. My teacher says, tell a new story, right?
Yes.
You can think of it however you like, but either way, it's like, don't be distracted by all the busyness that's out there.
Right.
Don't be distracted by other people's stories. Don't be distracted by all the stuff that's coming out in the news, about deception and the fraud and
No, I don't know, because I don't allow that stuff into my house.
right. And here's the thing. I don't want to make that right or wrong. Some people
Right.
fall into their house.
Yes,
We listen to the news. We listen
I'm
to
with you.
stuff, but that doesn't mean I have to be affected by it.
That's right.
It doesn't mean it has to affect my reality. And
Right.
so that's like, you can do it your way. I can do it my way. We all get to do it our own way, but you can still create your own story in that. Right.
That's right. Yep.
So now my story is a little different. And now I'm writing a new book, and I'm, intending to get back out on the road, but I'm also having my knees taken care of
Right.
now and in the fall, right? So that I can do it, so that my body's happy, because right now my little knees are not so happy. And so I need to take care of them.
Right.
You've been giving me that message for a while. And so it's listening to your body, finding your new story, creating your own new normal, right? Because we each get to have our own normal. That's pretty cool. Because I just heard, the singer Pitbull. You've heard of Pitbull?
But
No, okay. He's a Cuban-American singer. I happened to hear him on a show the other day. But his kind of mantra is, I've got my own normal and I've got my own happy. And those are my definitions for me. And I love that, because we so many times we're conditioned by the normal and happy definitions that are out there, right? Somebody writes a book. I mean, I have a professor of my own that from when I was in college, he wrote a book called Happiness, right? So it's like, well, everybody needs to be happy like that, right? But that's not true. I don't think it's true.
No.
I think you get your own happy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What makes me happy is not what makes you happy.
Right.
Happy and free on purpose is exactly that. You get to be happy your way, and free your way, and normal your way. And then I get to do it for me, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Your book is not a one size fits all. I mean,
it is a one size fits all, but it's
one size fits all in the diagnosis, right? But it's not in the prescription. Let's say that.
Exactly. Well, and that, it's your happiness.
Everybody can use a template, but everybody's going to get a different result.
Right. Well, so you get to decide what is happy for you. You get to decide what is free for you. You get to decide what is normal for you. And what my book does is helps you figure that out for yourself, and then helps you embody that and embrace it and feel worthy of it and deserving of it. Right. So whatever it is, there are people who really, really, really love jumping out of airplanes and doing scary things. And I don't. That doesn't make me wrong and them right, or vice versa. It's everybody gets to have their own jam.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we all affect each other. So my theory is that if we're all doing our own happy, then everybody's going to raise their frequency, right? Yeah. Everybody's going to raise their vibration, and everybody's going to help the planet so that we can all be happier.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's just one person at a time. Right. That's exactly how it works, though. But I love what you said about the actual magnetic frequency and vibration of the earth raising. That's such a cool, comforting thought to me. I'm like, I'm raising my vibration and Mother Earth is helping me.
Yeah. and I don't know what they're going to attribute it to in the end, but who cares, right?
Right.
It might have been because of COVID, because everybody got to slow down and those cruise ships are not polluting the waters. And so the fish are happy. We had more whales this year, calving, having their calves along the ocean, the coast here, than we did for the previous few years, right? Wow. So that's happening. There's more turtles on the beaches, so having their babies. And so, did you know that they all come back to the same place where they were born?
No.
The turtles come back. Yeah, Lauren. So isn't that cool? So, like 5, 10, 15 years ago, 25 years ago, these turtles were birthed right on this beach. And now they're coming back to have their baby, which I thought was so cool.
I do. I think that is
like going back to New Jersey to have a baby.
Right. Oh, that's awesome.
Wherever you were born. So yeah, so I think the planet's on its way to being healthier
Mhm.
because the frequency is raising. So I'm not so much with the doomsayers. I think we have a way of getting it better. I think the kids these days have ways of getting it better. They're having new kids corps around environmentalism, which is really cool, so that they're coming up with all these ideas of new ways of doing things. And in human design, we say that anybody who's basically been around since human design was created in 1987, they're living their life's purpose already. So all the kids 32 and younger, or 33 and younger now, are living their life purpose already, whereas the rest of us had to wait till we were 50 or so. They're living their life's purpose already. So they come in knowing what they want to do, right? These are 2-year-olds,
Yeah.
3-year-olds who know what they want to do. And they're
So are we getting better as the adults of the world at letting them be who they are instead of trying
we
to
have to
turn them
let them be
into?
we have to let them be who they are.
We do,
That's
but are we?
that's the point. Well, I mean, there's more and more of us allowing them to be who they are,
Right.
and helping them to know who they are, because
Mhm.
some of them don't.
Right.
And some of them need some help there. I think there's big roles. There's a role for all of us, but it's not. We're not in victim consciousness anymore. That's
Right.
one of the other changes, right? We've gone from that fear and victim consciousness, and the victim, the abuser, the rescuer mentality. We don't need to do that anymore. We
Right.
need to move into the trust and love and expansion that comes with healing and teaching and guiding other people,
Yeah. And
but
and
not, not like an evangelical kind of,
but
you know,
in a
sermon,
oneness, in a
not like a sermon,
non-duality
right?
kind of way. Right. Yeah.
Allowing,
It's a,
just
yeah.
allowing,
Mhm.
and not a duality, because there's nothing wrong with them. They just need support,
Right.
right? So it's a
As we all do.
support that's based in love, not like there's something wrong with them.
Right. Awesome. I love it very much.
Yeah.
Yay. All right. So anything, all right, the website is livingbyhumandesign.com. And
Right.
I really encourage you that the chart is free and it's so much fun and it's so cool and it's so enlightening to learn how you're hardwired. and one of my friends that I shared this with early on after I first met you, her husband is a geologist, hydrogeologist,
Okay.
and
Yep.
they both have a very scientific way of, they're scientists, both of them.
Mhm.
And they were talking about how the celestial beings that are out in the um in the universe are in a unique position at the time of your birth, and that they're sending actual, what are they called,
Neutrinos.
neutrinos, yeah, the physical particles that come in and
Yes.
affect and change the
Yes.
physical being as you're coming into the earth. It's,
They do. That's the quantum physics part of it.
yeah, it's so very cool. And
It's
and
very
and I have always had a very practical bent and always had a big skeptic in my brain.
Mhm.
And so I love it when these things that I know are true in my
Yeah.
heart and in my spirit,
Yeah.
science backs them up. That
Yeah.
just makes me even happier.
Yeah. And so you get to make the new story that's based on this new quantum physics, that's not cause and effect, that's not based on the timeline.
Right.
And it's not based on the little brain that we have in here.
Right.
Right? You get to create it and allow it, and it'll come.
Yeah. Love it. Awesome. Awesome. All right.
Okay.
So
Thanks so much,
do we know the title of your new book yet, or is that when
I don't have a new title yet, but it's going to be all about relationships.
about relationships? Okay. Awesome. Well, we will look forward to hearing about that. In the
Okay.
meantime,
Thank you.
getting to know you,
Yep.
embrace your unique
Yep.
blueprint to
Which
make
you can find on
decisions you love
Amazon.
and trust.
It's
Yep.
also on Audible. So it's paperback, Kindle, or Audible. And there's a YouTube channel also with loads of videos if anybody wants to take a look there.
Yes,
Also
you
called
can.
Living by Human Design.
Yeah, you can get your chart and then you can go and look at videos that are
Lots of
specifically
videos.
about your chart. So it's very cool. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for being here with me, Karen. I always
Oh,
love
thanks,
having you
Lauren.
on the show.
It was so great to see you. Be
Thank
well.
All right. All right. So, guys, I'm going to be back next week with another great guest. I believe it to be, I never can remember who I interviewed yesterday, but it's sure to be just as great as today's episode. And remember to go to laurengfoster.com and get on the newsletter list on our mailing list and get entered in the contest to win a free copy of the book and a 30-minute free coaching session, which is a $250 value. So it's a good prize for just your email address. And I'm going to see you next week. In the meantime, remember that happiness is a choice. You can always choose to be happy first. I'll see you soon.